All right, everyone, we do have news with regards to the Trump so-called hush money trial, the persecution of Donald Trump. He has been found guilty on all 34 felony counts against him. I had leaned towards hung jury, and the idea was, there's got to be somebody on the jury that kind of actually knows the law. In the end, of course, unfortunately, because of the composition of the jury being from New York, that was not the case. The liberals are currently having a runaround. They're having fun and saying, well, lock him up. He's a convicted felon. Ha ha ha. Felonious Trump. Let's see how good that works out for you. I don't know that it's going to actually be good and in your favor in the end. Much like with any other verdict, the problem is, number one, all eyes are on Trump. Number two, it looks like persecution. I mean, it is, but it looks more transparently like that. Number three, a lot of people, the majority of the U.S. public considers this to be a corrupt political case. They don't even consider it to be a normal case. So I don't understand why they would be celebrating, actually. They should probably look at their own polls, because some of them are coming from left-leaning outlets, and they still show that the majority of the American public believes that this case is completely meaningless. And it is meaningless. The fact is that you just had a jury of people from a far-left area deliver a unanimous verdict with untested legal grounds in a precedent-breaking case, which I mean, you've just opened the can of worms, and you're going to have more such cases. You've probably just doomed our republic, actually. Because what you've done is you've created a legal precedent that former chiefs of staff, former head executives, former presidents of the United States can be, gone after the second that they leave office, assuming that the next administration happens to be of a different complexion. That's going to be rather damning. The concept of the office has now been denigrated completely. So when I see David Hogg or the Krasensteins or some, morons like that celebrating this and thinking, my goodness, Trump is probably going to win anyway. What the fuck do you think is going to happen to Joe Biden? Yes, there's a deferential justice system towards unipartists. That's very much true. The idea of Donald Trump as the unique villain who has committed all sorts of crimes and he's just sleazy and damned and terrible, and all of our other chief executives are there standing solemnly backlit with Abraham Lincoln off to the side, is completely false. That's a mythology. It's an American mythology. It's one that is both useful and very non-useful, depending on the civic situation. Donald Trump did not commit the crimes that he was found guilty of. To be clear, this is naked political persecution. He was found guilty as part of a court that was blatantly and very transparently political, with jury instructions that on appeal are going to be thrown out. I mean, he's left the courthouse. He shrugs his shoulders and says, well, whatever. I'm appealing, to a higher court because this case is bullshit. But the whole point, in the end, is not really so much to put Trump behind bars, to put Trump in prison or anything like that. It's to waste his fucking time. It's to waste his fucking time and money. My hope was that there was one person out of 12 that would see through this and understand that to be the fact and hang the jury. Unfortunately, it looks like New York is completely irredeemable at this point, and there's no sane person left in the entire city, which is sad. And people will come out, and by the way, when people bitch about the verdict, they'll say, well, you're basically like a J6 insurrectionist. The jokes write themselves. You don't accept the proper rule of law. Yeah. Every jury that's ever been convened in the history of the United States has been totally fair. Like when juries used to lynch people and things like that. Those were fair too. The whole goal is to not imprison Donald Trump, but rather to imprison his campaign. That's what they seek to stop. Nothing more and nothing less. The fact that there was no sane person on the jury is very sad. It's not entirely unexpected, though. While I lean towards having a hung jury and then Bragg has to make his ex post facto decision on whether to retry or not, it's not, any outcome was fairly likely. Acquittal was possible. It was possible that they would say, well, the charges are bullshit. It wasn't likely, but it was possible. This was possible, a little more likely than acquittal, I think, considering the composition of the jury. I thought hung jury, and I was wrong on that, but you know, it just shows, you know, in New York, they're having a little bit of a problem. You just broke 250 years of civic precedence because Orange Man bad. That's not going to work out in the end very well for anyone, including like Biden supporters, like people with TDS. I don't see it ending well. I see it ending very poorly. So we'll see what happens. Remember, though, no black pills. We still have the ability to hash things together. It'll take, I suppose, an act of Congress or possibly the Supreme Court, which hasn't even weighed in on presidential immunity yet. They punted that earlier today as well. So today, a very strange day, a day that will live in infamy for all time in the United States. That's about all. Peace out.